Well, look what it is. This is the final test night for the Formula 2 over here at Trackstars. As you can see, we are on GT7, and it's been a very long wait, so hopefully we can get up and running very shortly with the season ahead. But as always, joined with me in the comm box is Spudley. What's going on?
What's going on, DJ? What's going on, fam of the Trackstars community? We are here, yes. We are on the brand new game. Finally, we are on GT7 and we are bringing you live on Trackstars Racing Series YouTube channel to finally bring you the brand new season of our finally, after delayed times through unsustainability on the lobbies and the cars being a bit of a handful, and through all the testing and through all of the negotiations of just trying to handle the car, get the right tuning and right setup, I think we've finally found the perfect match for our cars this evening and for our Formula 2 drivers. We are doing our pre-season here at Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona for the pre-season test for the Formula 2 guys. Not a big number here tonight, but it's only a test season before we go racing next week, DJ.
Yeah, it's been a very long wait for the pre-season, which is bit of a pain, but it's not only us, everyone that's running leagues at the moment is putting it on hold at the moment. But yeah, as you said, we've, what do they say, they've cleaned out the cobwebs, the cars are a lot more capable to handle now with some testing and some tuning. It looks like we might be able to go racing, so fingers crossed all as well, and we can see how it goes. But so far, so good. It's looking like it is, touch wood, but then again, GT Sport was good until it played up on us.
Absolutely, but unfortunately for us, we've got it up and running, and after all the 8 testing programs that we've had to do over the last few weeks, just trying to get these cars and drivers a seat into our championship, we can finally say that we are ready to go for next week's inaugural round 1 of the Formula 2 Championship. But we've only got a few drivers, as I've said. We only have one driver from the Project 1 racing team in Lunacy, currently leading the way in first place, with WTCC's own Slapper's Mate 117 in second place, in a very distinct WTCC/Trackstars. We work very closely with those guys, and we have great relations with WTCC's, the World Touring Car Championships. So go check them out if you want to hang out with a great bunch of guys on your Mondays and Saturday nights worthy of racing. In third place, we have Milky, who is Nightwalker 964, who's changed his colours at least for the main series, but I do believe he's still part of WRT Motorsports in Formula 2. Not so sure on that, but it looks like he's running the It's Racing colours, so he might be doing some. He's definitely obviously that means he's definitely a reserve for the It's Racing Esports program. And in fourth place, we have a new driver. I'm not familiar with his name, but it's Later Gator in fourth place. So whether he's just here for a bit of fun or whether he's actually a part of the Discord, I'm not overly too sure. But if he is, then you can definitely get him into the Discord, no problems at all. And then rounding up the rear of the grid is RoboSport Racing from the RoboSport Racing Camp in the number 20 Kick-Ass sponsored SF19. So we only have 5 drivers tonight, DJ, so obviously we're not expecting much. It's going to be a 21 lap race for our drivers tonight. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get some drivers in and in a way, to see what their pace is like.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, we haven't run much on this game, but we've done some testing and stuff like that. So it's hopefully going to be a good season. But I have had word very lately that Later Gator is your Knobbly Watt. So he's part of It's Racing. So he's our little. He's kind of what they say, or what you'd say is kind of an academy kind of thing, so where they're helping him and stuff like that. Basically, same as Venti. So yeah, so he's Ben Tendo. So Ben Tendo 64 has had a bit of a name change.
Okay, yeah, I didn't notice that. There you go.
Yeah.
Obviously somebody I didn't really recognise, but hey, it's definitely got two of It's Racing Esports drivers in the F2 field, so definitely getting some laps in and getting some feedback for the main series boys and yourself and John 27 TCT in the main series. So what are you looking for these guys that are in the F2? What are they going to be saying to you and your drivers come the main race later this evening?
Well, we've got Nightwalker as our reserve, as obviously you can see why he's in the he's racing colours. So he'll be our reserve if I can't race or John can't race. So John can't actually race tonight. That's why he's in our colours. But I know what Nightwalker's capable of. He's a very quick driver, but obviously I'm not too sure what he's like in the DSFs. But I know in the touring cars he's decently quick. But yeah, no, Venti's same thing. Is a little bit off the pace, but obviously that's where we're working with him, getting a little bit faster, getting his head around the cars a little bit more. Obviously with me, I have improved a little bit in the off season, so and in the testing we've been pretty nice there. But fingers crossed we can get these guys up to speed and try and take the F2 championship.
So you're saying improving in a way that you've started to complete all your cafe book menus?
You're a funny man. You're a funny man. You are.
Nah, but it's all good. Obviously, yeah. I think as the game was in its early stages, I don't know whether people just started to lose a little bit of interest in the game's development, and because obviously being a league series promotion that we are. We really focus on that online stuff where it comes to getting some good drivers and some good racing, but unfortunately with that instability of the lobbies, it has been pretty hard, so people have had to do a little bit of grinding with the offline mode when it comes to not league racing. So I hope now that's all over and finally we can get ourselves some quality racing. As we see, we go on board with Nightwalker 964. It's a lovely camera angle here on the top of the Halo. A new camera feature that they've introduced into GT7. These, I tell you what, even though they haven't given us implements on the different camera angles and replays and all, I'm liking this angle, that's for sure.
Yeah, just flick to it there. But another thing as well with GT7, they have implemented the new penalty system, but the looks like the live timings have been broken, which I'm not surprised because it's still GT7. So anytime you get a penalty, it'll make it a lot easier for admin. We don't have to review penalties, stuff like that. So you get a penalty, there's a penalty burn system in, so it'll automatically burn it for you. So less work for us over the coming periods of enduro races and whatnot. But yeah, no, I was just flicking through some camera angles and I found this one that I quite like.
Like you said, just gives us, yeah, in a way, it just gives us a little bit more breathing room and less work to do when it comes to the championships and trying to get post-race reviews and getting people to help us out. So yeah, I believe in a way it's definitely it's a great thing that they've introduced, and even with the crossing of the white lines as well. So that also gives drivers a penalty as well when they cross the solid white lines coming into the pit lane and when they exit out of the pit lane as well. So, but these drivers are now on their final lap. Just going to let them know that they have to complete their final lap, and then we shall set the grid for the pre-season race here at Trackstars Racing Series.
Yeah, it seems to be, and a feature as well they've carried over from GT Sport is obviously the halo there is see-through, so it doesn't really obstruct your vision there, which is pretty good. But we've got fastest first at the moment, but obviously we don't have any timing screens, which is a bit of a pain. But at the moment,
looks like Lunacy is still the man at the front on pole position, with Robbo Spore right behind in second place. Nightwalker 964 in third, with Later Gator, formerly known as Bentendo 64 in fourth, and then we have Cylon 96, who has messaged me over the past, and he is definitely one that he's looking forward to this season, and he's all recharged now, and he's after his hiatus from GT Sports being in the lead for the Formula 2 and being in second place in the Touring Car Championship. He took a bit of a sabbatical, but now he's back recharged, better than ever, and he's loving the game and he's loving the physics. But he's definitely one driver that you want to keep an eye on in season 2022 in the Trackstars Formula 2 Championship.
Yeah, and I do believe that there has been a bit of a lineup change on the MSR side of things for the main series as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Unfortunately for my driver in Punts in the number 47 Mash Buds Racing, he is unable to commit to the season in 2022 for at least for the formulas. We'll try and get him back for the Touring Car Championship, but his pride and joy in Formula racing has become an unfortunate has come to an unfortunate end, and the longest running pairing between myself and Punts in the as a team in Trackstars Racing Series. So we wish him all the best, and hopefully he gets himself ready for GT7 Touring Car Championship. But finally, we have. I'm proud to announce that I have signed up Budsy76 into the main series Ultipack Mash Buds Racing, where he'll be piloting alongside myself, the defending champion. And he's definitely learned a lot. He's grown a lot, and he's definitely a driver that is willing and excited for the new season in the main series. His first time racing in main series in formulas, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on. Maybe not within the first few races, but I'll say definitely towards the mid to end part of the season, you'll see the best of Budsy 76 that we can provide.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good, solid signing there by you guys. But looks like everyone's done their laps. They're all in pretty smart order. Obviously, it was a bit broken there for Slap, so I decided to go past Sector 1. But yeah, they're all in starting order. But no, it's good that Xylon is back out, ready to go again. So unfortunately, obviously, the lobby capabilities, we can't see the specs, but we all have power and weight.
Absolutely, but anyway, it is a bit of a hard thing that some of the tunings have some of the capabilities of finding the regulations with the cars. We can't see them at the start of the race, so we had to enable tuning for these guys to get the overtake button. But we are ready for the pre-season. It is 5 lights and it's lights out, and away we go with Lunacy getting an awful start with Robbo on the inside, taking the lead on coming down to the end of turn 1 here. But can Lunacy use his overtake to try and pass Robbo Sport Racing around the outside? But I believe we're going to have Robbo Sport Racing taking the lead at the end of turn 1 with Lunacy in second place, with Nightwalker in third, and then we have Latergator in fourth, with Xylon 96 in fifth place making up the spot, and then Slapper's Mate in fifth. But actually, no, he's actually gone past Xylon, so he's up into fifth place, and Xylon dropping back into sixth. But so far, leading the way on the exit of turn 3, it is Robbo Sport from the Robbo Sport Racing Camp in first, with Lunacy in second, and then Milky Nightwalker 964 in third place.
Yeah, that was a bit of an unfortunate start there for Lunacy, but at the moment it seems to be going pretty well. So fingers crossed we can keep it up over the night and we don't have any issues. But so far, Robbo looks like he's started to gap the field there as Lunacy starts.
Oh, as I see, sorry, I got you there. We have a bit of a moment at the back there with Latergator 64. I just saw it on my end of the TV. That Latergator had a bit of a moment on to turn 9, going onto that fast right-hander. He just went a little bit too wide and almost collected Slappers and Xylon in the process. But luckily for him, he kept the car on the track, and he's down the order in 6th place after losing 4th. But still, we have Robbo, Lunacy, Nightwalker, and Xylon and Slappers, the top 5, with Latergator in 6th. So with our racing in Formula 2, we do have a compulsory tyre stop, and luckily I was going to say one of the main features as we see a change for the lead. I'll get to that shortly, but Lunacy is using his overtake, trying to get through on Robbo Sport, and Robbo Sport's definitely not fighting this, and he's going to be taking the lead. Can Robbo Sport hold the outside? No, he doesn't, but does he go for a switchback? He's got a good run on Lunacy coming into turns 2 there, so he has to tuck into that slipstream, use a little bit of that overtake to come through. But I think Lunacy has definitely pulled a few car lengths over Robbo Sport, and Robbo Sport, to add to the trouble, he's got himself a half-second penalty there. So obviously running too wide on the exit of turn 2 is not what he wanted for his cause to regain the lead of this race.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they're getting that penalty there, but it looks like, I wonder if Nightwalker may get past him here, but a lot of these guys doesn't look like they have had any testing, so their tunes might be a little bit out, but I know I haven't had any testing because I don't actually have the track, because as you said, I haven't done the cafe books, and this is like 30 something and I'm at like 25, so it's not part of the calendar, so it doesn't bother me.
Exactly right. Well, you'll definitely get some time in when we go racing at 8 o'clock later this evening. So But in a way, I guess for some of these guys, it's going to be a brand new thing for the Formula 2 guys this year in season 2 of Formula 2 racing, that these guys are actually going to have to be getting their tuning brains on, or at least and working with their main series drivers to get an idea of what the tuning is like. Because, like I said at the top of the broadcast, unfortunately, that with the spec settings, that we can't disable tuning because that also disables the overtake boost that these Dallara SF19s have on their cars that is already installed. So when you have to have the overtake, you can only have it if you wanted to put it on BOP specs, and the BOP specs is the main series specs. So these guys wouldn't be overly familiar with those settings unless they do hot laps or online racing through other people's lobbies. But yeah, it's going to be a bit of a head scratcher for some of these F2 boys that are either brand new to the series or as a privateer especially. I mean, you have to feel for those that are privateers. They'll be working extra hard just to nail down a tune and be ready for race day.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously with the new specs of these cars, obviously the handling aspect, you kind of really have to work with the car, because if you go too far one way, then the car just handles like absolute turd. So you kind of got to really look into it and understand what the car is doing, and the tyre figure on this one as well. So if you go too hard on your first lap, the car just wants to spin out because the tyres are cold. So that's a nice little aspect there. But yeah, it'll be one for them with the tuning, and I'm sure that they'll be asking a lot of main series guys on what they can do tuning aspect wise. So I know that I'll be working a lot with my other drivers there, so I've gone ahead and run these SFs pretty quickly, so I know what's going on with these things and getting them to handle. So I'll be working with F2 guys and obviously John as well, because I haven't raced with John, and we do have a new lineup up at It's Racing, because I have officially now in the green and white colours, so I'm pretty happy with that one.
Exactly, and obviously for the It's Racing camp, still sticking with the green and white liveries for the SF19s, as our fellow commentator Adam would say, it definitely brings back the old Jaguar vibes from the late 1990s, early 2000s. So it's definitely keeping the theme, the old Jarman is with these cars. So, and that's the same with I would say for most of the teams down the order. I only noticed a few teams that are running different colours to their actual SF19s. I believe one of them is the Shade On Racing, and even the Robo Sport guys. They've gone through a drastic change through their colour scheme, and obviously going for that traditional black, red, and white, and just working with prime colours and just whatever works on a car and what works and whatever colours work in real life would come out into fruition onto an SF19 car. So for Robo Sport, he's got overtime when it comes to designing liveries. But what I noticed as well is that the Shade On Boys colours, I don't know if you've seen them as well, DJ, they are very striking and very different to what they had last year.
Yeah, I haven't had a look around as to see what colours they are, but on that note, it looks like Robbo's got a lot of different new sponsors there. So he's got pretty decent sponsors. He's got Snowfoam Australia there, so that's a big one. He's got Kick-Ass there, and looks like Hardcore.
Yeah. I've been working with Robo Sport in his team in other leagues races, and he's told me in the off season that he's been working very hard to try and get some sponsors to his team, because I think he's definitely taken the esports very seriously with his Robo Sport racing camp. And yeah, he's been asking around, and he's got himself a few sponsors that actually do watch his races and watch him and his team race around in other league races such as Trailblazers, GT Champions. I believe there's another Facebook run community race, Dreams of Motorsport, as we see down the back end in third place. Zylan's gone for a massive spin there. I don't know if you caught that, DJ, but there's a car in the background that is Zylan 96. He caught the outside of the curving on the turn 9. He just ran a little bit too wide, too much throttle, and he's copped himself some rear damage. Thankfully for these guys, they've only got light damage, so that car will be fixed up in no time at all. But you could still say in a way, I don't know about you, but you could say in a way that these cars, even though with the new handling, it's improved the cars a lot compared to what they had day one, but they're still quite a bit of a handful. Like when you get the tuning side wrong, they can really snap at you, especially on the rear on a fast flowing corner.
Yeah, yeah. What was I testing? Oh, I was testing at Daytona during the week, obviously, because that's round one. But going through the first part of the course is fine, and then obviously you get to the end of pit exit there, and then you do that little hairpin, and then that little straightaway there was a real handful there because I had to tune, obviously, what I thought would be right, and then yeah, just on the little left kink there, just decided to just do some 360 no scopes. Next minute I'm in the sand, car's destroyed, man. I was like, well, back to the drawing board of this one, but I seem to have got that a little bit down pat there. So I have learnt from last year, instead of using one tuning sheet, to have different sheets for different tracks. I'm pretty happy with that one.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't know. I haven't really looked into the actual sheets. Are they? Is this still 10 tuning sheets that they give us, or is it actually unlimited? Because I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not exactly how many there are, but I know I have already done, I think, 5 or 6. So with some of the pre-season races, I did fix the tuning there. But yeah, that St. Croix test session that we did, it was really, I was ready to throw my controllers and snap my non-existent GT7 disc and delete it up in GT.
Yeah,
PS5,
like
so.
it. Yeah, I think, like we said, I think everyone was very frustrated with the game's early stages, and every racing community around in Australia and around the world in league racing, they've all had to delay their season when it comes to getting things underway and making sure things are stable when it comes to racing wise. But over the last few weeks and the latest update in patch 1.13, I think that gave a little bit of confidence to every league series in Australia, at least, to actually start their season and get them underway, and kind of like use the first season of GT7 as like you could say like a tester season, just in a way, just to get, obviously, one, to get something up and running, and two, just to set a boundary of what is to come over the next few years on this game that is going to develop. Don't get me wrong, but obviously in its early stages, yeah, it's not going to be the best season yet, but we're hoping over the next few years that things can get better and better.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Obviously, I'm not part of that GT7 Nations Cup or that kind of jazz, but I have heard some feedback from that. But it looks like they've semi-fixed it to as best they can be at the moment. But it looks like they're just bringing out like hot fix after hot fix after hot fix. So hopefully they can get it right by the end of it. Come say probably next year or so, something like that. But now we're 7 laps gone. And we got, should be 14 to go after Lunacy crosses the line. So we'll start to see some pit stops here. Maybe possibly.
Yeah, very soon. A minimum of 5 laps on per compound on the softs and medium tyres. So all drivers have done that on their, at least, well, they're on starting laps 8 of 21. So we'll have a look at the tyre specs. We've got Lunacy on the medium tyres. So he's gone for a bit of a conservative run. Robbo Sports on the soft tyres. And if you look at Robbo Sports tyres, they are actually, you look at his compared to Lunacy's mediums, the soft tyre doesn't really look like a tyre that can go, like, obviously for a long distance. That will probably be something, and I guess in a way it's good good feedback for the main series as well, because the main series is going to be, the tyre wear is going to be a little bit harsher compared to last year, I think, and on 4 times the tyre wear. So I guess in a way, it's going to spice up strategy for sure. But it looks like not even I can see that Robbo's gaining a few spots on Lunacy, where Lunacy is losing a bit, Robbo gains, and vice versa. So especially in these slower corner hairpins, as we see, yeah, Lunacy's got a little bit more traction thanks to the extra grip on his medium tyres.
Yeah, and while you're explaining that, Zylan had a little bit of an escapade there on that back straight, as well as later he had a bit of an issue going through the chicane. But it's the whole tyre aspect is definitely going to throw in some new works here, because that'll make people want to. Obviously, they don't have the super soft anymore as well, too. So they've only got the soft.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, throughout the whole season we've been doing the super soft and soft tyres just to give these guys a little bit of fun and make the racing a little bit more exciting. And we've seen a lot of exciting racing last year in the Formula 2 Championship with Matt and Viper Z and Duran 50 delivering the goods in Formula 2 racing. But now adding the medium tyre to the soft tyres, it's definitely going to bring a little bit more strategy play into this championship, just to see who can actually stretch those mediums out early, or who can actually run the meet, or who can actually, you know, save their soft tires. Because I think it's going to be, if you can save your soft tires and make them useful after like 10, 12 laps in a race, then that'll come pretty good just to only do 5 minimum laps on mediums. But then vice versa, if you can extract more speed on the mediums and then go for a sprint on the soft. So it's going to be a very, you could say, definitely an interesting season come season 3 of Formula 2 racing.
Yeah, well, it'll definitely throw in as well with our new ruling too. So we have modified the rules slightly there for some of the faster guys. So the new ruling is if you're an A+ driver, you can only do 5 events over the whole season. Also, we only have 11. As we see, Lunacy take a bit of a dive here into the pits. He was lucky not to cross that entry line, so he didn't get a penalty.
And Robbo Sports followed him. No, Lunacy hasn't got a penalty at all, but Robbo Sports followed him in. So it's just a compound change between those two. So Lunacy will go onto the softs, Robbo onto the medium. So I guess, well, Robbo Sport can only make those soft tyres last 9 laps, and this is what I'm saying, DJ. Maybe, just maybe, if Lunacy's pitting in now, he's going to probably struggle towards the end there, and Robbo Sport might come back and pounce on him.
Yeah, either that, or do you throw it up and put it in the works and run a medium soft too, and just cop the pit stop, because see what he comes out with.
Actually, well, I see here that Lunacy actually hasn't come in and changed tyres at all. He hasn't changed his tyres, so he's actually gone. He looks like he's just. I think what he's done is filled his car up a bit. And Robbo Sport has got himself a 3-second penalty there, DJ, crossing the white line on the exit. So this is definitely one of the features that GT7 added, and it's going to really police drivers to make sure they stay within the white lines, especially in main series. Because if you cross even a tiny bit or go on top of that yellow on that white line, yep, 3 seconds is coming your way. As we see yellow flags ahead, that is Nightwalker 964 in second place. It's just had a bit of a spin on the exit, and he's just trying to get his car under control. And one of the downside of all this, DJ, we don't have any replays.
Yeah, we don't have any replays, and I don't have keyboard, so I'm having to flick through the field like this. So it's a bit of a pain. But Latergator looks like he's copped a pit exit penalty, so he's gone onto the softs there. So he's going to try and make those softs last 11 laps, which may be a little bit too far there, but Lunacy, if it was me and this was an official session in our calendar, he would be getting a penalty because they are not allowed to refuel in the Formula Series.
And here comes a Lunacy as well, so he's definitely seen the mistake that he did not change his tyres. It looks like he came in for fuel, so for some reason it looks like he just filled his car up for fuel and not actually changed tyres. So that's a bit of a dummy move there on his part, like a bit of a brain fade for him. But that definitely relinquishes the lead to Robbo Sport, the provisional lead to Robbo Sport. But he's only 10 seconds behind Slapper's mate 117, and Slappers is yet to pit, and he's not making his soft tyres last very long. And then down in second place we have Cylon 96 also coming out of the mediums. He's got 15.5 to make up on Robbo Sport, and us and me, especially knowing Xylon. He's definitely got the pace over Robbo Sport, but so far this evening, Robbo Sport, could he be a bit of an X factor come the Formula 2 Championship? He has said to me he really likes these Formula 2 settings, and he really likes driving these cars because that's where he can just really throw the cars. He does use traction control 1, and he can definitely get the handle of it really nice. Get the power down, and obviously working with Lurox and Loudy Darkmist, the tuning's going to help him give that bit of extra boost. So I wouldn't rule out Robbo Sport actually thinking about maybe claiming, at least getting in the top end of the championship.
Yeah, I mean, I never really kind of ruled out a lot of people, but it's a bit hard when you get to add the tuning aspect in too. So yeah, as you said, he's going to have to more or less work with his main spec drivers. As we know, they did have a few good results during the season last year, but obviously with the new GT7 handling and some driver changes left and right, it may throw some spanners in the works. But what may also throw some spanners in the works is the drivers that are only allowed to do five races under the new now ruling. So
yeah,
basically, the main one that we have brought in for this is obviously drivers who have a DR, so a driver rating of A+ or better, the defending series champion or a series champion in the Formula Trackstar series or the Trackstars Touring Car series. They'll only be allowed to do a maximum of 5 events, and obviously that will eliminate the likes of Viper Z and Matt and obviously Duran, because I don't know if you've seen, Mr. Duran 50 is looking to support CP in the main series.
Yeah, so I'm not so sure if he's actually going to be registered to race in Formula 2. I think I have rumors that that he will probably continue racing Formula 2s depending on his schedules. But yeah, a big reserve for the main series CP Motorsports team, who will actually be filling in for V-Papa AT this evening, the pre-season at Circuit de Spa Catalunya. Not Spa Catalunya, that's my mistake. Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. And yeah, definitely for him, he's definitely going to be a bit of an X factor, especially if he actually replaces V-Papa AT in the main series. That we've known his speed we've known his speed in the F2 racing last year. So if he actually does race main series, could he actually be a potential for at least a top 5 or even a top 3 in the championship?
I wouldn't count him out at all. Well, one thing is he's fast by himself, and another thing is he's now working with Woodsy, and anyone who works with Woodsy is definitely going to be a bit of a pain in the butt. So I know during testing me and Woodsy were pretty close, but obviously he was like, oh no, I need to do this tuning and do this tuning, so it looks like he was trying to play a bit there. But also on the lineups and stuff like that, we have had a few new teams that are different, as Robocop's a half a second penalty there. So we've got 2 new teams in main series this year. So we have lost Pit Lane Esports, and who else is it that we lost? We lost. Oh, I can't remember. Nice, Haggle Mine.
Yes, so we have lost. So we lost. I'm just trying to remember. So yeah, we lost Pit Lane Esports, and the other team that we lost wasn't
EBM. That's the one.
Ah, yes, there you go. There we go. Our EBM, who were main title sponsors of the Trackstars Racing Series last year, had to pull out of esports racing on GT on the Gran Turismo platform. And yeah, but we have 2 teams leaving, but we have 2 new teams entering the team. So our first new entry is Satellite Racing, that is led by Viper Z as the team manager, and he's got 2 strong driver. He's got a very strong pairing in his lineup with Speedy Tires, Bathurst champion, 2 years in a row joining that team, with Ridwan F1 also joining the Formula team. But what I have to say is, DJ, even though we have a new team like Satellite Racing, we'll get to the second team very shortly, but with Satellite Racing, definitely one of the odds-on favourites to take it to the likes of CP, Mash Buds, and even the It's Racing boys. But knowing those drivers, I haven't really seen much racing from, at least Formula racing from either Speedy Tires or Ridwan, because I know that Speedy Tires has done a bit of Formula racing in the main series last year with CP Motorsports, and he got himself some good results. 6th place in Spa, and then I think a 5th, and then a podium in the Blue Moon Bay 500s. But I think just for Formula racing, for Satellite Racing, it's gonna be a learning experience for those guys, and hopefully they get on top of setting up their cars and learning how the cars drive, so to pose a threat to the top teams.
Yeah, well, obviously you can't rule out anyone in the main series at the moment, but I know what Ridwan's speed is like, because if we flash back to last year, go back to Suzuki GP, he filled in for me, and he actually won, if I remember correctly. I can't remember. I know he won something in Suzuki.
Was that Formulas or was that touring cars? I can't remember.
Oh, it might have been touring cars.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, no,
okay.
He has had some results in the formulas. Obviously not many, but yeah, he's a fast driver overall. But put him with Viper said as the manager, mate, I'd definitely be away from him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we all know Ridwan's pace, especially any car that he drives, he knows he touches it with a pitch of, he makes that car golden, and he knows how to steer it. So he's a good steerer. Speedy tyres, coming in with a lot of experience in the Trackstars Racing Series community. Obviously, 2 times Bathurst champion in the Touring Car Championship, and a podium at the Blue Moon Bay 500 in the Formula Championship as well. But then our second team is going to be one of the it's definitely a brand new team that's joined our series, but I'll probably, I don't know, like, how do we rate them? Like, we can rate them as underdogs. We could probably rate them as probably a midfield team. We're not too sure, but the second team that we have is the Intercontinental Esports group. That has joined us as the 7th and final team to the Trackstars Racing Series, piloted by the number 55 in Gabans, and I believe the number 19 piloted by Highlander 215. But we are hearing a bit of talks that second seat is just up for discussions. Yet so far, we could either be drivers like Broccolilli or TTV Bite the Roses. We're not too sure, but one driver for sure that stands out in that team is Gabans. And he comes in with a lot of knowledge, competing in last year's championship with the Eats Racing Esports, and even for Pit Lane Esports last year.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not ruling anyone out this year at the moment. Obviously, we have had a few testing sessions, and Gabans did win at Fuji, and I spiced someone up, added a little bit of rain, standing water on the track, and he played it pretty well, and he actually beat Woodsy to the flag. So Woodsy came second, and Gabans came first, but we have had late news yesterday that it is Broccolilli in the number 19. So
there you go. And even Broccolilli, a kid like that, I think he's only about 14 or 15 years old, and he's just, he's probably one of the fastest young ones in Trackstars. And yeah, with his experiences driving for EBM last year in the Formulas and touring cars, we definitely know what the kid's got when it comes to race pace.
Oh, definitely. I was seeing him obviously previously racing with EPM. He was a bit of a worry, and I do remember him. I can't remember if it was touring cars or formulas. It's been a very long time, but he actually won at Monza, so he played that pretty well.
Yeah, he was definitely very strong at Monza. I remember that race. It was definitely the touring cars, I think, because he won 2 races that weekend, and the formulas he smashed the field convincingly. So yeah, so Broccolilli we know is a very strong driver, no matter what car he drives. In a Formula, that's where he thrives in, because he also races on other racing platforms in the Formula 1, on the Formula 1 game as well, so getting some experience in open wheel racing. If we look back to their main on-screen action here, we have RoboSport in first place, but then if you've got Lunacy right behind, he's on the soft tyres, but he's catching RoboSport at a rate of knots, and we've only got about 4 laps to go at the end of this one. Can Lunacy make the move on RoboSport? Can RoboSport fight off Lunacy? With Cylon in third place, a long distance back from Lunacy, which will be our main focus. Can he make the charge on RoboSport with 4 laps to go?
Can he do that? But Cylon runs a little bit wide here, but also what adds to the mix is we've got Robo on mediums, Lunacy on softs, and then Cylon on mediums, and Nightwalker on the softs. So it's a 1v2 and then 3v4 here, so it just depends if those softs can pull out for 4 more laps, but at the rate they're going, they're really working that left-hand side there.
Yeah, well, the gap is down by less than a second there. If it was Formula 1 terms, he would be within the DRS system, but he's definitely got himself within range of the diffuser of RoboSport Racing. As you can see, 3 coming through turn 4, the amount of grip that he's got over RoboSport. So the tuning that Lunacy's got on his car is definitely working a little bit better than Robo's. Those medium tyres are not working for Robo, and those softs are working brilliantly for Lunacy. So he's going to be right on his rear diffuser within the next lap or so. Oh, he gets a little bit wobbly there on the exit of turn 5. That's a little bit unfortunate for Lunacy. But coming through to the chicane, he just loses about a couple of tenths there to RoboSport, and now he's lost time and he's actually gone off. Oh, Lunacy's just put the power down too much there, and those soft tyres, those rear tyres, are more or less gone. It's about half wear on his car, and yeah, you can't put the power down too much with that amount of tyre wear, and he paid for it.
Yeah, well, obviously we know what the tyres are like, and I haven't had much running on worn softs, so I don't know how much they're going to understeer, but if they go like they are on cold tyres, they're just going to definitely handle like an absolute bucket. But yeah, a bit too heavy on the gas there.
Absolutely, and yeah, he's definitely, so all that time that he's got gaining on Robbo Sport has all come to an end. It's about 4.3 seconds, so only about 3 laps to go. He does have to make over a second to try and close the gap on Robbo Sport. It's only going to be, 3 laps to go. So I don't think, unless Robbo makes a really big mistake, or if Robbo Sport actually cops himself a half-second penalty, that'll bring the game back into Lunacy's favour. But even back now in Xylon 96 in 3rd place with Nightwalker right behind him in 4th, so he's keeping Xylon honest as well. So it's a good return to see for Xylon 96 and then Nightwalker 964. But if I look through with the registered drivers here in the Formula 2, I think a couple of big names stand out as possible championship contenders. So you look at the likes of Lunacy, Robbo. I definitely think drivers like Rugworth from the MSR VL racing team, who came 2nd last year, and he came runner-up behind Viper Z in the championship, and so he could definitely go one step further. Even guys like Magical Wax, Slappers, mate. You've definitely got a great signing. You've definitely got a lot of drivers signed up for our F2 series, and we thank our drivers for signing up and being patient with us as we try to get lobbies sorted out and organised. So it will definitely be good to see what they can achieve come round 1, and if we can get ourselves a full lobby, or if not 1 lobby, 2 lobbies.
Yeah, well, obviously, if we do have 2 lobbies there, and depending on what people are like, we may introduce the likes of a Formula 3 championship, possibly in the Red Bull car, or just same specs as these guys, but just I don't know. We'll kind of assess that, but at the moment we've got a lot of entries confirmed, and everyone is confirmed. 6 here. Yeah, so we've got 6 here that aren't confirmed because they're either in the main series or they're just not able to race this year. But so far, all of the entries are confirmed, except for one Flamesy. So yeah, as you said, we've also got Lunacy, Robbo. Robbo was very consistent last year too, so that was one to watch out for.
Yeah, they all showed up at every race and getting on the points board and having a good fight with his teammate as well in Mikez 1, 2, 3, and most of the other drivers there, they were not on the pace like Mid-Mat or Viper Z, but it's definitely good to see that maybe this time around, that we can see a guy like Robbo Sport and even, fight his way up towards the front and even, put on a great show and get some wins and get some points for Robbo Sport Racing. But as these guys come around the last section of this track, it's probably not the most entertaining part of the track here as they're coming down through to the chicane. It's not really, obviously, back in the old days, after 2006, the Formula 1 Championship, after 2006, they introduced that very slow chicane for FIA safety, and I think that most people can agree that the racing here at Barcelona in real life Formula 1 isn't the greatest, isn't not one of the most spectacular races that on the calendar. Definitely threw in a spice when it was 2016, where the likes of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton took each other out, and that was the first race that Max Verstappen debuted for the Red Bull racing team. That's where he scored his first win on his first race for Red Bull, and we could see drivers kind of like that as well in our series, that people that start up, that sign up straight away, they win on their debut race. Look at Duran 50, for example. He signed up for the touring car second division championship, and he got a clean sweep at the Blue Moon Bay Infield A round, and that was an incredible drive by Duran 50. And you can look at drivers as well. Lunacy as well put on some great pace. Nightwalker's actually now gone past Cylon 96 finally on the last lap. So yeah, I think I'm looking forward to this year, DJ. I don't know about you, but this year's definitely going to be an interesting year for Formula 2 racing here at Trackstars.
Yeah, obviously, as you said, we can't kind of really rule out anyone, but obviously with the tuning aspect, it may also come into play. But I wonder if some of these guys may look at running some mid-season testing.
Robbo, sorry to bother then. Robbo just ran a touch wide on the last lap there. He just got himself onto the curbing, and he's trying to get the power down. But here comes Lunacy. He's just trying to get all of his overtake as much as you can on RoboSport, but that won't be the case. RoboSport takes out the pre-season race here at Catalonia with Lunacy in second place and Nightwalker 964 rounding up the podium in third with Silo 96 very close behind with a half-second penalty there in fourth, Slappers in fifth, and then Later Gator coming on early into the back straight and not gone past sector one in sixth place. So well done to RoboSport for winning the pre-season test. Thank you so much to all our drivers racing here this evening. Obviously we couldn't make it a full lobby, but that's okay. Well, obviously everyone knows that it's pre-season, and I guess everyone knows that we are going racing next week. So better get those attendants in, boys, because if you want to get yourself a spot like these guys who are actually going to be confirmed entries, RoboSport, Lunacy, Nightwalker 964, Silo 96, and Slappers Mate 117, and Latergator will be the confirmed top split in Formula 2 racing. So that's what you get. That's what happens as we see Latergator just go a little bit too much on the power there. But yes, obviously one of our main ruling was if you show up to pre-season testing, you get yourself a spot in the F2 championship. So these 6 drivers will be very happy that they don't have to do any pre-qualifications whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely. But looks like your softs are a little bit quick there, mate. So take it a bit easy through these parts. Maybe ran a little bit long there on those soft tires, but good on him getting out there. We can see a little bit of glitchiness there, but that's probably just a connection thing.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
Yeah, we don't have a results page, which is fantastic.
Yeah, you definitely have to save like screenshots and all that. So, but obviously, like we said, for RoboSport, he's taken himself the victory over Lunacy only by making a very small mistake on that final lap there. But he took out the win nonetheless with Lunacy in second, Nightwalker in third. So good positive stuff for Nightwalker and even for Silo 96, who had a bit of an plenty of off moments there tonight. But obviously that's something to shake the cobwebs down and get himself prepared for 2022 if he does commit. And then we have Slappers Mate in fifth, and then Later Gator down in last in sixth place, rounding up the top 6 that have joined us this evening.
Yeah, it's a solid turnout by these guys. But as we have in the chat here, we've got Jarman Dallets here saying, Bono, my tyres are actually gone. Welcome, good friend from over in the US. So he's actually, It's Racing's jumped over to the US to do some sprint cars for a couple of months. And I just asked him, what time is it over there? And he just goes, 4 a.m. So he is currently watching this at 4 a.m. in the morning over there. You are a madman.
You are a madman, Jarman. You have to be asleep, mate. You've got to sleep. You need to get your Z's in so you can get ready for racing over there in your sprint cars. And we wish the series admin and the main man of Trackstars Racing Series. If it wasn't for him, this series wouldn't exist. We want to wish It's Racing Jarman Dallets all the very best for his American series, sprint car series over in Missouri. And we'll see him back in 3.5 months, 4 months time for touring car racing.
Yeah, he's had a few results over there, but he's obviously definitely getting used to all the American guys and still going. But he did just say he cannot sleep, so a bit unfortunate there, but it's good so he can see what it's like on the viewer aspect of things. So got Highlander just jumping in as well.
Yeah, good evening, Highlander. Hopefully you can join us for main series racing come next week for round 1. Hopefully we can get you on the track for representing the Intercontinental Esports group in the main series alongside Cabans. But yeah, like we said, as we conclude this broadcast, DJ, like I've said on the broadcast, I'm really looking forward to this season for F2, a brand new season, different specs, different abilities on the tuning sides, and different strategies. I'm going to say I think the main thing is going to be is strategy this year, because it's going to be all about making those soft tires last for as long as you can and trying to make sure how much pace you've got.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this season, as probably you are, and as is everybody else. But as we start to finish up here, we do appreciate everybody that has jumped in for the pre-season, and hopefully they got their head around how the car is handling and all that kind of jazz. But yeah, it's definitely going to be strapping in for a not so long 11-round season of formulas. So we have a changed calendar. So we are running formulas, and then we are running touring cars. We're not mixing and matching. So it's probably going to be a good thing for us, to be honest, I think.
Yeah, we're not under too much stress when it comes to tuning both cars at the same time. So it gives us a little bit of a breather to focus on one series and then focus on the next one. But these guys will be definitely be working over the next week as we go racing. Pre-season testing over for the Formula 2 boys. We want to thank them so much for jumping in all of our pre-season testings over the last 8 times that we've been able to host testing lobbies. But we can now say that we are going to be going racing here at Trackstars Racing Series next week. The Formula 2s will be in action at the Daytona International Circuit, going in the infield section, going along the banking, the famous Daytona track. We cannot wait for the season to start, but on behalf of myself and Spud P666 and DJ in Ryan Palmer, I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening, and we will look forward to seeing you guys for the main series coming up very shortly. If someone will be able to get a stream going, fingers crossed if we can, but if not, we'll see you